Hello there. This is Anders, and I am super happy and grateful to be here today and to share some information with you that I'm pretty sure is going to change your life, actually. And that's not an exaggeration, it surely did for me. We're going to talk about how to break the terror barrier, how you overcome the illusion of fear. I believe that fear is the number one factor that holds most people back in conformity their entire life. It's something that avoids us from stepping out into growth. But with the tangible tools that you will be receiving today, it will enable you to step forward into growth and experience the success that you rightfully deserve. So, if you're ready, I am to conquer that illusion once and for all. So, today you will receive the 4 steps that we have to move through in order to conquer that fear and really propel ourselves forward into growth. I will illustrate the concept of fear with an illusion, and you'll receive some tangible tools, as I said, to help you move forward. But most of all, you'll understand what fear really is. So, so fear, where does it come from? It's an emotional state. Fear is an emotional state that we experience as a response to growth. And in a moment, when we go through these 4 steps, you will see exactly what I mean. And again, I'm going to be illustrating the concept with an illusion. So there's a lot to look forward to. And before I forget, make sure to subscribe to my channel here so you stay informed about all the great things coming your way in the future. So we have to understand that fear is hereditary. That's right. It's something that we no, excuse me, fear is not hereditary. Fear, the only thing that we arrive with, in fact, that is brought down to the genes, it's the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. That's it. As a baby, you and I arrive with 2 fears installed in our central nervous system, the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. That's it. Everything else is social conditioning. That's right. Environment. Environment is far more impactful than heredity in this case. So, your environment, as you grew up, helped you install a lot of fear in terms of a lot of different things that cause you to feel a certain way when you're stepping out into growth. So, this is really, really important. Joseph Murphy once said that the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. And so, what we have to realize is that we won't move towards our goals unless we become more committed to the goals than we do to our comfort zone. But as we do move towards our goals and we do become more committed to them, then yeah, the fear will show up. But as we learn how to deal with the fear, we're really going in the right direction. So as I mentioned, the fear shows up because of 2 installed fears as we arrive: fear of falling, fear of loud noises, and then we grow up. And can you imagine if we as kids had heard the phrase, "Yeah, just keep climbing up that ladder or climb up the tree. You might fall down and you might bruise, but you know what? You'll learn something." But we didn't hear that, did we? No, we heard, "Be careful with this, be careful with that. You might fall, you might do this, it might have these consequences." So we're actually teaching kids, us, as we grow up, to measure what we can lose. We're not automatically measuring what we can win in any given situation. And that is the reason why fear shows up. We're programmed for survival. That's part of the animalistic nature of us. So fear, I'm sure you can recognize this in your life when you're about to step out into something really great, something that you really want to do, and you experience that fear, and it's like doesn't sit well. I had that experience when I left Denmark, my native country, about 16 years ago. Lost everything. Experienced tremendous sense of fear, but my goal, my vision was stronger than the current circumstances and the fear that I experienced. Then I found myself having rebuilt my career in entertainment. I was producing and performing magic shows and cruise ships and television. And I had studied personal development. I had studied the mind. I had studied how powerful we are, how we form our reality, and I became obsessed with it. And I made a decision one day to quit everything I had built. in entertainment and start doing what I do today, which is bridging personal transformation and magic in an experience that is quite different. But it was not an easy decision either, because I had to look at a career I had just built, and to give that up in favor of something you only see in your mind, of course, provoked that fear response. And so, when was the last time you experienced fear when you were doing something you hadn't done before? Maybe it was the fear of the unknown that you experienced. Let me know in the comment section. When was the last time you experienced that emotion? And was it sort of like a fear? It could be fight, the fight response, flight response. Like, how did you actually experience it in your life? One thing I fear more than anything else is the same results year after year. I fear same results more than I fear the unknown, because I've come to learn that unknown is actually quite wonderful. So I'm going to illustrate this concept of fear with an illusion, and in a moment I'm going to lay out the action steps, the whole entire process that you move through psychologically as you experience fear, and then I'm going to outline 5 steps that you can act on right away that will help you deal with it. So you may not experience fear right now, but I guarantee you, as you start moving towards something that is really worthy of you, a goal that's really worthy of you, you will experience it. And then make sure you bookmark this video and come back to it. It's weight worth in gold, I promise you. You'll be so happy you did. All right, so I'm going to illustrate this. And before I forget, make sure you subscribe to my channel and like this video and share it with friends and family that you believe could benefit from it as well. All right, so let's get to it. I'm going to illustrate this concept with an illusion and a balloon, and it's not going to make sense right now, but it will in a moment. All right, let's go. Sounds can be illusions too, so you should never believe everything that you hear. All right, but we definitely got established that this is a regular balloon. Yes? All right. I'm going to leave that here just so that it doesn't leave our site. And now we're going to choose a card. These all, whoops, it did leave our site. We'll put it back up there. These are all different cards, different. I'm going to just riffle through here. Somebody just write stop in the chat. Just write the word stop at any time. All right, we'll just pick a totally random card. It doesn't really matter what it is. And so, Jack of Diamonds. Okay, this is really wonderful. All right, had I still been in the magic industry, I would have been fired by now. Jack of Diamonds. All right, guys, thank you. We'll write fear right there. Okay, so we know that that is our card. Fear right there. Okay, that's our card. That's our balloon, and back to our cards. All right, so I'm going to take that card. We're going to put that back in the middle, right there, somewhere in the middle. And when I snap my fingers, the card jumps right back to the top. Of course, that's not it. So we're going to do something really different, something actually even cooler. Oh my gosh. Okay, balloon cards. I want you to imagine that these cards are us arriving on planet Earth as children. All right, this will make sense to you in a moment. It's us arriving on planet Earth. Remember, fear was installed 2 ways: fear of falling, fear of loud noises. When we arrive, that's it. Everything is social conditioning. And I want you to imagine that this balloon is social programming. All right, don't blink. Deck of cards with our card somewhere in there that says fear in it, Jack of Diamonds, and then social conditioning. Okay, now watch. There we are. There we have it. We're stuck in there, stuck in a tiny prison. We just arrived on planet Earth. There we are. You see it? And then we go through life and we're being taught you can become everything you want to be. You have total freedom. But do we really? Because every time we step out and do something we haven't done before, we hit that barrier in our mind. It's a mental barrier. Now it's illustrated by a balloon right now, but it really is a mental barrier. And you'll receive four crucial steps that we have to move through in a moment for you to really step out into freedom. So how do we do that? Well, it would look something like this. So all the cards are in here. Now I'm going to do something slightly impossible. I'm going to attempt to reach through the balloon because we want to get into a state of freedom. You want to move out of that conditioned way of thinking, and you want to stop bouncing back into conformity every time you hit that wall. So I'm going to reach through the balloon now, and I'm going to pull out one card, and that happened to be ours. And so that is really how you and I move. That's how you and I move beyond that mental barrier and out into a state that we would refer to as freedom. While the rest of our little friends, they stay in here, you see? And they most likely will stay in there for as long as they live because they don't understand this concept. And in a moment, you'll understand it a heck of a lot better, and they will enable you to step out into freedom every day, all day, for the rest of your life. How wonderful would that be? All right, so let's get into this. I want to make sure that you see exactly what happens in the mind as we move through those four steps of fear, and you're going to really like this. So there's four steps to it. There's a barrier right here, and we call that the terror barrier. That's really what we're going to move through in order to conquer this fear. All right, so we have to understand the mind a little bit better for us to understand this concept. And I want you to imagine that this big circle is the mind, and this little circle here is the body that we live in. This concept was originated by Dr. Thurman Fleet back in 1934. He was a chiropractor, and he realized that he was treating mostly symptoms. The medical industry was treating symptoms on people, rarely the main cause. And he said, it's like that in life, in people's lives. We treat symptoms, we don't treat main causes because we don't understand the mind. So he created this stick person for us to better understand the mind. And the large circle is divided into two parts. We have the conscious mind here, the subconscious mind there, and then the body here. So we live on three planes. The conscious mind is the part of your mind that reasons and thinks. It's where the free will lies. And then you have the subjective emotional mind. That's the part of your mind that acts and obeys. It has no ability to reject any information, and that is the part of the mind that programmed, and that's the part of the mind where fear originates from. It's an emotional state originating in your emotional mind, expressed with and through the body. All right, fear is a very real thing. You can feel it in the body sometimes. So let's get into this. So the first step here is to realize that there's X kind of thoughts, there's X kind of feelings, and there's X behavior that leads to X results. That's a person who's stuck. That's the first stage of this process. You can seemingly have a lot of success and still be stuck. If you're not moving progressively towards a worthy ideal continuously, you're stuck. And so, yes, you can have the house, you can have the income, you can have all of that, but stuck is not a fun place to be, because you and I are spiritual beings. And spirit is always for expansion here on the physical plane. And so we start becoming dissatisfied when things don't really move on the physical plane. And that's a healthy state. But anyways, that's the first state. It's where you have X thoughts that align with your X programming in your subconscious mind that aligns with the X behavior. And of course, X results. No growth at all. And then we move to the next phase here. Now you may attend a seminar of ours, you may have been at Real Magic Live, our award-winning live experience, or you may have seen another YouTube video, or you may read a book, or you may get inspired, and you're going to start thinking about what you could do, what you really would like to do in life. And that kind of thinking is very different than the old X conditioning here, or X type of thinking as a result of the X conditioning. So now you're starting to think why thoughts. They're very different. Why thoughts might be, what happens if I stepped out into growth and did this? What would happen if I stepped into growth and did that? What if? That is the what if stage. Programming hasn't changed, behavior hasn't changed, results are the same. But on a conscious level, you start entertaining new thoughts about what you would love out of life. And so a lot of people get to that state, right? And but they don't move very far beyond that, and you will understand why in a moment. Because the third state here is really what separates the winners and losers in life. So here you have the why thoughts, the new goal, the new thing you want to create, to be, to do, to have. The old programming is still there to a certain extent. The old X programming, it does not want to move. But here you say, well, you have to, because, I'm going to integrate this new Y idea. I'm going to step out and actually act on it. That will cause a really weird energy in your subjective mind. It's like two energies in conflict, actually, X, Y. They don't mix, and it creates an XY conflict in your subconscious mind and in your body, and you can feel it. It's the sweaty palms, it's the shivers. It's really uncomfortable sometimes, because if you're going to be acting on something, you're going to be stepping out of your comfort zone, and it's just going to lead to that emotional state. The old programming does not want to move, and you say, well, it has to, because I'm going to step out and do that. And so let me know if you can recognize that particular emotional response. So in a moment, I'll share with you the 5 steps that you'll have to go through to conquer this, to get through freedom. But first, let's understand what happens when you do. So provided that you've gone through the next 5 steps and you've actually executed on them, it will enable you to plow straight through here. But if you don't use these 5 steps, you'll do what 9 out of 10 people do. They experience this state in their physical body. It's very uncomfortable. And they don't know. So what do? They go right back here and they say, I'll just wait another month. I'll just wait another year. I'll just wait until the kids grow up or the cat gets old, or whatever excuse that they're programmed to use. Wow, that's a good rhyme, actually. I'll just transcribe this anyway. So they go back here and they con themselves into thinking that that's okay. And then they get validation from their friends and family saying, of course you should wait a little longer, honey. Timing probably wasn't right. They never move. And then they go to the next stage. They start thinking about what they really want. They experience the same fear. And what happened? Boom, right back here. No, we don't want to do that. We want to understand what happens, because with awareness, with understanding comes awareness. And with that awareness, we can move. And as we do that, as we utilize the next 5 steps I'm going to outline for you in a moment, you can actually plow through this barrier that separates the winners and losers in life. You have now entertained Y ideas long enough. You've integrated them. They match a new program, and that will enable you to step out and create new Y results on a physical plane. And that is really the key to freedom. So now comes the question, how do we get there? Well, first, there's something I'm going to ask you to write down, and you may want to rewind and watch this particular part a few times. It's an affirmation that I'm going to give you, and that will help you. An affirmation is an auto-suggestive technique. It's a statement from yourself to yourself that you affirm continuously that help change this programming here, because that's what you want to change. It's not the thoughts. People say, oh, just positive thoughts. No, that's not going to make any darn difference. It's the programming in your subjective mind that controls 95 to 98% of your results, your behavior, and thereby your results, of course. So I want you to take this down, write this down, and affirm it as often as possible. I'm so happy and grateful now that I act before I'm ready, and I continuously step forward into growth and opportunity. It is so. I'm so happy and grateful now that I act before I'm ready, because the fact is you'll never be ready. So you have to program yourself to act before feeling ready. And I continuously step forward into growth and opportunity. It is so. As you keep repeating that and affirming it to yourself, write it out a number of times every day with your opposite hand. It's neurologically proven that if you write with a non-dominant hand, you actually rewire your neural networks in your brain much faster to match these new belief systems. So write it down continuously, and that will make it easier for you to execute on these next 5 steps. So the thing is, we either step forward into growth or we step backwards into conformity. There is no in between. There is no placeholder. There is no status quo. That's an illusion. Either you step forward into growth or you step backwards into conformity, and you do that all the time. We have that choice. So here's the 5 steps that you need to recommend that you write down and execute on next time you feel this emotional state. So 1, you have to have a goal. If you don't have a goal, you have no direction in life. And if you have no direction in life, you become a plaything for outside circumstances. Whatever's going on around you is going to dominate your mental state. That's not healthy. That's where the masses of people live. They live in a state of mass hypnosis, and they don't even know. Masses of people are programmed to conformity, programmed to mediocrity, and they don't even know. So let's break out of that. And that happens by setting a goal, a really worthy goal. And as you have a really worthy goal and you commit yourself to 3 action steps, pardon my handwriting here. I'm writing on an iPad it's a little new experience. But anyways, I'm not trying to say I had great handwriting before, because the honest truth is I'm so happy and grateful now that my handwriting gets better and better. How about that? So anyways, first, a clearly defined goal, something that's really worthy of you. 2, you have to commit to 3 action steps that takes you far beyond your comfort zone here. And you commit to them. Commit them to a friend, family member, accountability partner, and start moving. It's the law of Goya, Goya. Get off your ASS and move. When you do that and you act on these 3 action steps, you'll experience fear. You'll experience that emotional state. Remember what we talked about before? That must happen. And as you experience the fear, describe it. Get it out on paper. Describe it. Get it out on paper. Now you're actually putting words to it. You're describing the experience. That's the 3rd step. And now the 4th step here, now it gets really good. It's analyze it. Because the more you analyze that fear with the awareness that you have now after having seen this video, you realize that the fear is there because you are programmed to measure what you can lose. You're using your imagination against yourself, imagining outcomes you don't want. And then you hold those outcomes that you don't want on the screen of your mind with your will, and that leads to to negative mental pictures. So as you start analyzing the fear, you realize that's what you're doing to yourself. You're actually using your mind against yourself. And now that leads to awareness. And now you can start changing things. 5th step is to list the potential positives. Oh my gosh, my handwriting today. It's the greatest positives. List the potential positives that will happen as a result of you stepping out into growth. I guarantee you, when you do that, everything starts to shift. Everything. You list them out because now you start measuring what you can win. And as you have the list of positives and you weigh them against the list of potential negatives, the list of positives will far outweigh the list of negatives. And now it makes it even easier for you to step out into growth. And what you've really done is you created a perception shift. You see, perception is one of your mental faculties. It's one of your mental tools, and you can shift your perception in any situation all the time. And these 5 steps enable you to do that. All right. So remember these 5 steps. Remember the affirmation. Repeat that. And as you repeat the affirmation and you act on this, that fear will no longer control you as much as it did before. So to recap, you, my friend, either step forward into growth or you step backwards into conformity. With these tools in hand, they will enable you to continuously step forward into growth, and you won't experience that fear hold you back. It's not that the emotion of fear won't show up. It will. But now you have awareness. I treat it as a friend. When fear shows up in my life, I bid it welcome. Thank you for showing me I'm moving in the right direction, because I know if I hadn't done that, the fear wouldn't be there. You see, the fear is actually a sign that you're moving in the right direction. It's the emotional response to growth that your emotional mind does not want to experience. It wants you to stay where you are. And so let me know what you think in the comment section about this video and what you would like more of in the future. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel here, like this particular video, and share it with friends and family. And one last thing, fear when you want to earn more money is very common. And so I've made a video about how to earn more money and multiply yourself for more freedom in your life. And you should go check that out. I posted right here when we're done. And so go check that out, because with this awareness of fear, you will be able to step out and earn more and create more freedom in a significantly shorter amount of time than if you didn't have this awareness. All right. So I hope this serves you. It's not who you are that holds you back from anything you want in life. What's holding most people back are all the illusions of who they think they are not. All right. And take that from an illusionist that's been 20 years producing and performing magic shows in my old career. It's not who we are. There's perfection within us. What's holding us back is our wrongful way of thinking. An illusion can only exist in the presence of assumptions. No assumptions, no illusion. And I truly hope that with this video today, I helped you conquer just one more mental illusion so that you can step out into another great, beautiful quantum leap in your life. This is Anders Hansen. Bye for now.